Okay. So what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs? I bump into people who are building GenAI startups, right? So because that's where there's a lot of opportunity. So what would be your advice to entrepreneurs, maybe likely first-time entrepreneurs who are just taking the plunge on a GenAI idea? What would you ask them to do and not do?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say, and I'm going to say, should plug your ears if you prefer ignorance as a bliss. You should put your hand in your ears right now and not listen to this part. But you need to know that starting companies is really, really, really hard. It's really hard, right? Many people think starting a company is easy. It's, I'm going to get funding. It's going to sit. But no, starting companies is really hard. We see the press and the media, they only cover the successes. They rarely cover the failures. For every success that you are seeing in the media, for every company that's getting funded and growing, there is 100 failures that you haven't heard of. In fact, I joke sometimes and say, is the odds of winning in Vegas, if you were to go and gamble your money in Vegas, is better than if you were to start a company. Because in Vegas, at least you find out by the end of the day whether you have won or lost. With starting a company, it can be 5-6 years before you find out what happened. So my number one advice is, if you don't have strong resilience, if you don't know about yourself that you are a better person that can take punches and keep standing up again, don't do a startup. Don't do a startup. You're not going to survive. So that's the number one advice. But that advice also correlates with, because startups are hard and the odds are against you. If you look at the math, again, most startups fail than succeed. You will need luck to succeed. Even if you're amazing, if you are the top student in your school, you have 100 million in funding. If you don't have luck on your side, you're not going to succeed. So how are you going to get luck on your side? I usually say, if you're religious, which I am, then you want to go to your mom and you want to ask your mom to be praying for you. So my religion is the Islam religion, and Islam, we're strong believers that the prayers from the moms are more likely to be answered than the prayers from anybody else. So that's number one. If you're not religious, then ask for karma, ask for luck, do good things, do lots of good deeds so that karma comes back your way, because you will need that, right? So, and I give the example of Steve Jobs. Then Newton, he didn't have luck. Newton fails completely as a device. iPhone, just 7 years later, changed the entire world, right? Because it was the right time and he had the luck on his side. He was great designer, great thinker, great everything, but he had the luck on his side the second time. So that's a very, very important piece of advice. Second is, start with why. Don't go build your company when you don't know why I'm building my company. And if you go build your company because you want to be rich, you're going to fail. Like and investors see this, by the way. One of the things investors, if I feel that guy is pitching me because they just want to build a company and get rich, I'm not going to invest in them. I'm going to go somewhere else, because the chances are there's lots of studies on this. The investors know that. They look for that as a signal. Chances are that these companies fail. They are looking in your eyes. The investors, when they're talking to you, they're looking in your eyes to see, do you have a deep conviction about a problem and why you're solving that problem and how you're going to solve that problem? And once they see that, then they believe in you. And once your team sees that, your team believes in you. And once you have all of that positive energy and belief around you, then now the chances of you being one of the 10 startups that will succeed versus the 9 that's going to fail is going to be way, way higher. So always start with why, and don't get excited about the technology. The technology is simply a tool to solve the problem. Get excited about the problem and how I'm going to solve that problem. So that's very, very important advice. And it's maybe one of the key reasons why I see some of the startups I work with fail, is they lose the sense of why.